Hey everyone, today I was on my way home and I happened to stumble across this church and a cemetery that lies right next to it. Some people might call it a graveyard, but I thought we might take a look at the outside of this church and then do a quick walk through the cemetery. So this is just sort of a country church. It's a nice one though, got some stained glass windows with the steps going up to it. This is called the Red Rock United Methodist Church. And got a nice sign there. Also saw a sign right over there notating the cemetery that's here. It's not a real big cemetery, but there are quite a few people in here. But I love this sign, and I definitely love this church. Stands out with the white and the blue sky there. Came from this direction up through there where all the wind turbines are. You can see a lake there. Just kind of in the middle of nowhere, basically. Right up here where all this traffic is, though, I don't know if you can see it, it's pretty tiny. That is I-40. So this is just kind of a spur of the moment stop on a cemetery. And this is sort of the newer section. Everything with the crosses on there, from what I can tell so far, are veterans. So there's ones from World War I and World War II. But I thought we might take a look at some of this older section that's here. And it's pretty interesting, as there are some Civil War veterans, I think, that are in this cemetery. But there are veterans from different eras in here. As you can see, some of these are normally a flat lying marker here. William Henry Polk, Oklahoma Private in the Medical Department, World War I, 1890 to 1966. There's a veteran right here. Wilbur F. Hornberger, Private in the 162nd Depot Brigade, January 9th, 1934. Pretty nice. There are some monuments that have toppled over. A couple of them are homemade, like that one right there, Hornsberger. There are some nice monuments. This cemetery appears to be well maintained. It's nice and mowed. The grass is not really sitting here. It's edged. Pretty neat cemetery here though. But like I said, I thought we would wander over to this older section and see what we could find. Now here is a private in the Kansas Cavalry, looks like. And it's a veteran right there. It's covered up pretty good though. Should have brought my broom with me. It's all the way back in the car, and of course I parked over there, and I'm on a time crunch, so I can't spend too much time in this cemetery. But I thought we would do a quick walkthrough. I wasn't expecting to find this. There's a piece of marble there. Daughter of Mr. and Mrs. J.E. Gamble, January 2nd, 1931. And look here, Herschel, son of T.D. and A.L. Gamble, January 3rd, 1903 to February 14th, 1903. Right on Valentine's Day. And there is this right here. I don't know if anyone is interred there or not, but that's kind of how the front part of this looks with different markers. These older markers over in through here are pretty nice. Born September 22nd, 1821 and died at 81 years. And then that is Jane, the wife of David Shields. Up at top is David Shields. And obviously he's a veteran because there's a cross here. Born in 1812, and he was aged 84 years. So that's definitely a nice marker. So let me see what this one says. This is definitely a veteran here. This one just has a little bitty, maybe foot marker there. This is Joel A. Griffith, kind of a newer marker. Illinois, private in the 20th U.S. Infantry, February 13th, 1910. So pretty interesting. This taller marker right here is J. Clayton Hainan. Looks like. Died August 8th, 1893, aged 29 years. This is certainly another pioneer cemetery. This is a World War II veteran right here. Edward D. Massey, Master Sergeant in the Army Air Corps, World War II. Like I said, I thought we would seek out some of these veteran markers in here and just maybe see what they said. And then just kind of wander through here and see if there's anyone else that catches our eye. These markers right here have the tops of them off. They're older. J.K. Rankin, born March 19th, 1867 and died May 12th, 1901. And the top has fallen off there. Another one right next to it. Anne, daughter of J.H. and A. Wallace, born on September 14th, 1880 and died July 1st, 1899. So that is in several pieces. This Gardner family, there's quite a few of the Gardners right here. Pretty neat. There's a Civil War veteran right over there. Thought we'd make our way. Obviously, this is a veteran here too. Hans Loos, if I'm saying that right, 1854 to 1927. And then his wife, Barbara, 1864 to 1928. But this is a Civil War veteran right here. Edwin, looks like Sheets, Company I, the 20th Iowa Infantry. And this is the Sheets family right here, obviously. There's several. Obviously, this Edwin right here was a veteran as well, 1840 to 1900. I'm not exactly sure if it's the same Edwin or not. Now, there's some kind of marker here, and the writing is very difficult to read, but it says, "My dear husband, Edwin W. Sheets, born on May 10th, 1840, and died April 11th, 1900. I think this is all for the same Edwin Sheets right here. So, obviously, Sarah Anna Sheets cared very much for her husband. And she is October 30th, 1844 to October 12th, 1922. Pretty interesting to see that, though. There's another veteran right here. And this is Levi M. Phillips, Sergeant in Company E, 10th Iowa Infantry. And Hannah, his wife, was born October 23rd, 1835 to July 4th, 1905. The Sleeping Jesus. Like I said, you can kind of look through here and see numerous veterans through here. Anytime you see the white cross is the way that they've done this. This is Henry Morris, Company C of the 112th Illinois Infantry. And there's a cross there, and then his wife has this nice marker right here. And her name is Mary, November 29th, 1844 to April 11th, 1908. Another veteran right through here will walk in between. This is Henderson Sharp, Company K of, I think, the 40th Missouri Infantry. That's kind of, maybe the headstone's cracked at one time and they repaired it. These are other Sharp family members here. This is Neoma J. Sharp, 1830 to 1904. And then, of course, there's just a block marker for that one right there. Nice cemetery, though. There's some different little markers. These are all nice markers in here. And you can see where some have been painted like this. Billy Don Rackley, 1934 to 1935. Not very old, just basically a little more than 6 months old. And it says Our Darling. And there's a little penny down at the bottom, and you can see a little lock right there. Kind of sad. Try to shoot the wind. It is super windy today. Is in another cemetery that you've seen the video of, or hopefully you have. Go in an abandoned church right on the grounds of a cemetery. This marker, you can't help but catch. I mean, it is probably the largest marker in the cemetery. And there are quite a few family members here from the Whipple family. You have Charles T., 1874 to 1944, son of William and Emily O'Donnell, but somehow they're connected in with this family right here. Charles M. Sr., 1919 to 1979, son of Charles T. and Marcella Raidt, if I'm saying that right, R-A-I-D-T. Julia, 1921 to 2002, daughter of George and Lula Ledford. And they're the parents of Charles, Bobby, Jimmy, Paul, Julia, and Debbie Miller, Kathy Calumet. There's quite a few here. Bobby E., 1941, but there is no date of passing. What's interesting is this has to be someone important when you see something in a small cemetery that says Dr. Charles Jr., 1938, and there's no date there. Son of Charles and Julia, father of Christian and Michelle. So several of these have no date of passing. But look at this monument here. Isn't that incredible? Whipple, I do beseech thee, what is thy name? Shakespeare. And then they have kind of just a family tree here. Captain John, 1617 in England, and passed away, I guess, in Rhode Island, 1685. What a history here that they have on the marker. It's not often you see this. And then William, 1652 in Massachusetts, and died in Rhode Island in 1712. William was born 1690 thereabouts, I guess, and passed away in 1776 in Rhode Island. This is right around the formation of the country. Eliezer, 1733 in Rhode Island, and died in 1781 in Rhode Island. And then Jesse, 1771 in Rhode Island, and died in Indiana in 1840. And then we have Jabez, Rhode Island, 1803 to Indiana, 1878. And here's how they come to Oklahoma. William, so 1835 in Indiana to 1908 in Oklahoma, just 1 year after this became a state. So certainly probably pioneers here. And Charles T., 1874 in Indiana to 1944 in Oklahoma. And it says down at the bottom, to speak the name of the dead is to make them live again. It's an Egyptian tomb inscription. This is certainly my goal with this whenever we visit these people, is just to remember them. Don't know them, but they deserve to be remembered as much as anyone in Hollywood or anybody else that is in history that we choose to cover on this channel. William T. right there, 1835 to 1908, son of Jabez and Susan Benton. What a nice monument here. And there are some things written on the back side here, and it's just talking about how this is erected to commemorate the life of William T. Whipple, pioneer and first Whipple to settle the Cheyenne and Arapaho lands of western Oklahoma Territory in 1886. His homestead was 2 miles northwest of Bedrock Cemetery, and he was a farmer, rancher, and one of the founders and minister of Bethany Congregational Church, 1 mile west of his home. His ancestors likewise were primarily Northern Baptist or Congregationalists. This narrative is taken from the book Sons and Daughters of Jesse Whipple by Charles Whipple Jr. It's pretty interesting. They just have a whole family history there. And I'm not going to read it all because it's quite lengthy, so I'm sure it can be found on Find a Grave if you wanted to read it. But there are a lot of monuments here that are pretty nice, and you can kind of make the connections here. And this one has a depiction of this gentleman, Kenneth L. Lackey, beloved son of Lee and Elsie. Pretty interesting how you can make those connections in here. And like I said, there are veteran markers just all over the place. So this one right here, look here. Antoine W. Lackey, February 16th, 1927. Cavalry School, Fort Riley, Kansas, 1944. World War II and Korea in the 1st Cavalry. We have a corporal in the U.S. Army there as well during Korea, 1932 to 1994. So like I said, there are quite a few veterans in here. And then here we have Elvis Dwayne Chadwick, machinist mate, 3rd class, United States Navy in Vietnam, 1942 to, let's see here, 1999. And then we have Orville Chadwick Sr., 1948 to 2006. We have a World War II veteran right here, Howard Sutton, United States Army, 1922 to 1997. Neat little monument right here. If you hear some static or popping, it's me trying to cover my mic. I do have a mic on that blocks the wind noise, but it is so strong out here, I don't know if it's enough. Infant daughter of Charles and Emma Sanders, March 12th, 1907. What a nice little monument, though. Another veteran right here, Edgar Spencer, private 1st class in the U.S. Army during World War I, 1893 to 1976. A lot of interesting markers in here. I love cemeteries. I know a lot of people call them graveyards if they're next to a church, but they're one of my favorites. Look here. Here's that one's missing anything on the top, but this one right here is just a homemade one with like letters here that you get for a mailbox, and you can kind of see how the wood is weathered away underneath and around where the letters were. Not exactly March 3rd, something there maybe. I don't know, maybe it says a name. It's really worn down. Here's another one right here. Looks like May 23rd, 1880 something. And then to January 1st, 1940 something right there. I love little cemeteries like this that tell sort of a history of the community just by walking around and seeing who was here and how they're related, stuff like that. This one catches my eye too. I don't know if it's just a vase or has some sort of Native American reference. I'm not sure. But it's Nathaniel Allen Cosby, born January 5th, 1981 and reborn February 17th, 1983, son of Carlton, Wayne, and Lenora Ellen. His time's forever, everywhere his place. A little sunset right down at the bottom. That's a neat one. So here's a nice marker right here. Loving mother, Wanda Jo Budden. And this is a recent one. January 20th, 1932 to January 11th, 2020. What a nice marker. Mother of Pam, Stan, and Sharon. I love that marker. It just says the last name there. But it is a nice one. Like I said, you can see all the white crosses in here. And there are a lot of veterans. Now this one is not, this has a younger one right here. Charlton Ray Mayberry, April 3rd, 1974 to January 31st, 1993. In our hearts always, with love remembered. And you can see a photo of him right there. Just a young one. Didn't really even get to start his life on his own. There are certainly a lot of World War II veterans here, so this community stepped up. Willis F. Hayden, 1921 to 1990. There are a lot of veterans. Like I said, I can't say that enough, but I love seeing things like that. And some of them, of course, they don't have government markers. So like Gordon Moore is a veteran, 1907 to 1982. Most likely a World War II veteran, but could be of Korea too as well. And we don't know without looking on Find a Grave or doing some research. Like I said, we're just doing sort of a quick walkthrough. And, but what a church next to a cemetery. Here's a younger one here, looks like. John Glenn, son of Glenn and Ruby Hughes. Definitely a younger photo right here of him. Let's see what the dates are, if we can see any. October 24th, 1966 to June 5th, 1975, our beloved son at rest with Jesus. This is definitely an interesting cemetery. A lot of history. World War II and Korea veteran right here. Gaylord G. Borland, Master Sergeant in the U.S. Air Force, 1919 to 1988. Now within this cemetery, you know there has to be some ministers that are located in this cemetery that were probably pastors of that church, ministers of that church, somewhere in the history of it. And I was trying to see if we could see any others. I know there was the one that was kind of mentioned there, but I was trying to see if there were others. I figured there might be, but I don't know. It's just kind of difficult to find them, I guess. Here is someone with a medical symbol. It's a registered nurse, Eva Rose Hopkins Hicks, 1909 to 2006. Pretty good age right there, 97 years old. So we do have quite a few. I'm trying to figure out what this symbol is on this marker back here for Miller. It says Reverend George M., October 10th, 1950. But is not passed, but it says, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, Matthew 6:33. The good news to the Asia Pacific Church of the Nazarene, minister holiness unto the Lord. This is Nancy J. Sides. So my question is, was that church over there something different other than Methodist right now? Maybe it was Nazarene. It's interesting that there's a Nazarene minister here. Didn't know if it said anything on the back. It says missionaries to Papua New Guinea, 1989 to 1999, Solomon Islands, 1999 to 2014, and Philippine Islands, 2014 to 2016. So that's pretty interesting. This is the newer area over here. Didn't know if we would run into anything, but it's pretty nice. A lot of these markers have history on the back, telling who they're related to, who they're the parents and grandparents of. Like I said, I thought we would just make a quick walk through this cemetery. So this is just the sign across the street that says Red Rock Cemetery and some of the rules and regulations and who you can contact for information if you would like to be interred here. But man, what a scenic church right here on the back roads of Oklahoma. And then you have this nice cemetery to explore. Pretty nice. So that's going to do it for today's cemetery tour. It's a small one, but it's something that I enjoy. Like I said, I love these cemeteries that are next to churches. I hope you enjoyed it as well. And if you did, give it a thumbs up. As always, appreciate you watching, and we'll see you guys next time.